So I put a new exhaust on the truck. The factory exhaust was a little bit quiet. Well, if you're watching this video, you know they're really quiet. It doesn't sound like a throaty V8. So I've got the 6.2 in mind, and you would expect it to have a little bit more, just more of a sound. Anyway, so I ended up buying the Borla S type dual exhaust, and they tout it as a true dual exhaust, and it is, which I'll show you here in a second. But there's one big muffler. It comes with one big muffler, but it's both exhaust ports go straight down the center. So I think at wide open exhaust or wide open throttle, your exhaust is going to go straight through that muffler. I did end up making a few modifications to the original exhaust because I did not like the sound after I installed it the first time. It was just loud. It didn't sound good at all, and it had some raspy tones to it. It popped a lot in the back, which I suppose if you're racing that makes sense, but driving around town, I didn't like it. So I put the stock resonators back on, and that smoothed it right out. So it has a very deep, aggressive tone to it, but it doesn't sound. It's not just loud. It actually sounds good. It sounds like a truck, I think, should sound. But anyway, so let me show you the exhaust. It's not an installation video, but I can kind of point you to some issues that I had while I was installing it, so you at least have that heads up if you decide to get this system for yourself. And I'll leave a link to, I think it was Summit Racing where I got it, purchased the exhaust from, and so I'll leave a link to that below. These are all the pieces to the new exhaust. This is the front, roughly how it's going to face, and that goes out the rear. These are the tailpipes. Seems simple enough, but we'll see. That's the box that it came in. So this is the driver's side here, and basically from the catalytic converter out, I think they have you cut it off at about 2 1/4 inches out to give you enough room to slip this in. And so yeah, this is the driver's side, and this is the passenger side. This side here, you just cut off about 1 inch and 2 3/4 inch up. Cut it and then slip this on, and you can see that it does stick down a little bit more than the stock exhaust. It's not too bad, but the stock exhaust is crushed right here, so this is just not crushed, and that's why it sticks down a little bit. It also comes very close to the transmission, but you can see that there is some space, and it doesn't. It's not like it moves without the motor, so it's not ever going to get any closer than that. So, but anyway, this is the dual exhaust in the front, and this is just it running down the rest of the truck. We utilize this bracket here. There are a couple of brackets that you don't end up using, stock brackets. But and I ended up putting, after I started it up the first couple of times and took it for a test drive, I ended up putting the stock resonators back on. I ended up having to weld them on, but I put the stock resonators on because it had a kind of an ugly, to be honest, it was an ugly sound, and I did not like it at all. It wasn't just loud, it was, well, let's just say it was just loud. It didn't have a nice tone to it, and so now with the resonators on there, it sounds great. But you can see that there's still plenty of clearance, and then it just carries on through the back. So that's it. It really only took about an hour to put it on the first time, but then I had to take it back off, put the resonators on, and once, put it back on. So maybe a grand total, including that, because I had to take it back off, probably took about an hour and a half total. But it sounds good. It really, once it warms up and idles down, it really sounds a little bit louder, but not too loud. But when you get into it, when you get into the throttle, that's where you notice the extra rumble. But I like it. And so anyway, this is the Borla S-Type true dual exhaust. I would have gotten the Touring had they offered the dual exhaust in the Touring, but they didn't. They only offered the dual exhaust in the S-Type. So but it sounds good, and horsepower, I don't know if it gives you any. It feels like it's more horsepower, but I think that's more psychological than anything. Anyway, if you have any questions, please leave comments below, and I'll try to answer whatever questions you have. Anyway, thanks for watching.